Chapter 6560. Tawana said unnaturally, the world needs to pay attention to not only the two minority groups of LGBT and illegal immigrants, but also many other minority groups. It is impossible for me to publicly call on everyone to pay attention to all minority groups at a concert. Yes. Charlie nodded and asked her. You didn't pay attention to illegal immigrants before. So I won't blame you. Let's put aside the past and talk about the present. Since you are going to have a concert tonight, can you speak out for illegal immigrants at today's concert? Can you spare no effort to call on all states in the United States and even countries around the world to improve their laws and provide better humanitarian assistance and protection to illegal immigrants? Without waiting for Tawana to answer, Charlie continued. Illegal immigrants are penniless and have to bear expensive medical costs to see a doctor. Some people go to the hospital to see a doctor when they are sick. The doctor just talked to him for a few words and gave him a bill of several $1,000s. This is really inhumane. It's really shocking. In a normal country, the total cost of an early lung cancer resection operation is only a few $1,000s. But like in your country, doctors charge so much money for talking to illegal immigrants. Isn't this a bit too outrageous? I think you really should call on the US government to use taxpayers' money to quickly provide these illegal immigrants with complete humanitarian assistance, including but not limited to a comfortable living environment, sufficient food supply, and free comprehensive medical care. What do you think? Tavana's expression was already dumbfounded. First, she didn't expect Charlie's entry point to be so tricky. And second, she was surprised at the series of fantasy stories Charlie had just told. Let her call on the US government to use taxpayers' money to support illegal immigrants. And they have to be fat and healthy? If she says that, would she be able to go back to the United States in the future? Isn't this equivalent to snatching a bite of food from the rice bowls and giving it to those illegal immigrants? Even if she is under a gun barrel, she can't say such remarks that will inevitably be despised by most in her country. When she thought of this, Tawana couldn't wait to end the chat with Charlie. At worst, she wouldn't release the video about him. It would be better than being so aggressive and speechless, right? So, she coughed awkwardly twice and said, Mr. Wade is indeed very humanitarian. But I think this kind of thing should be left to the government to be responsible for. What I can do is to call on people not to discriminate against each other. Seeing that his sweetheart was suppressed by Charlie, Tawana's boyfriend Trevor immediately said, Mr. Wade, you didn't answer Tawana's question after all. The reason why you brought up the issue of illegal immigration so aggressively is that you want to indirectly show that deep down in your heart you don't support LGBT at all. Am I right? Hearing her boyfriend come to her rescue and instantly turn from passive to active, Tawana breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, she looked at Trevor with a loving face and sighed in her heart. This is my man. At the critical moment, he can withstand everything for me. So, she looked at Charlie and struck while the iron was hot. Mr. Wade, LGBT are discriminated against in many places, so we must support them with a clear stand and spare no effort to let them have equal rights. If each of us is unwilling to express our attitude and support them like you, then where will their future go? At this time, Charlie looked at Trevor and said with a smile, I don't know what your LGBT specifically stands for. But I can tell you and Miss Sweet very clearly that I respect everyone's S3 Zool orientation. After all, this is everyone's own choice and everyone's own private life. Since it is private life, it is not appropriate to always discuss it in public. As he said, he looked at Trevor and asked him, Do you like men or women? Trevor frowned and said subconsciously, Of course I like women. Charlie smiled and said, You can also like men. This is your freedom. If you really like men, then I also understand and respect it. I really don't like men. Trevor blurted out to explain, but Charlie didn't give him a chance and continued. You don't have to explain to me, you can like men. I just don't think you can go to the streets every day and shout that you like men. Or even encourage other men to like men like you. After all, there are still many children on the streets. and their values are easily influenced by young idols. Back then, those rock bands and hippies in West were proud of taking contraband. But what was the result? The result is that more than 100,000 people die every year from contraband just in the US. If minors are influenced by you and make the wrong choice of S3 Zool orientation, or even mistakenly choose irreversible S3X reassignment surgery, will you be responsible for them? Obviously not. Therefore, S3 Zool orientation is an adult topic in itself. Whether you support it or not, it should not be discussed in public. You always mention these topics in public, which is irresponsible to society. What's more, you are far more than just open discussion, but often accompanied by incitement and instigation. Trevor waved his hands and said, "I didn't. I didn't." Charlie said coldly, "I've read the news. You even encouraged some states to pass bills to allow minors to change their gender freely without the supervision of their guardians. There are even special funds to provide them with surgery expenses. If this is not instigation, what is it?" Charlie said in a somewhat aggressive tone. "In my opinion, your behavior is no longer protecting S3 Zool minorities, but producing S3 Zool minorities. You intend to artificially mass-produce more LGBT to expand this team. What is your intention in doing this?"